This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Hey, it's Wednesday, March the 9th, 2016, and you're listening to the Party Loaded podcast. I'm Luke Retallick, and that is Imogen. How you doing?
Hey, how you going?
And we got a Jam somewhere.
Hola.
And Ollie bringing up the rear, of course.
I'm here the minimum amount of time so I can get back to another game.
Another game? What game would that be?
Such commitments.
I second that.
It's been a kind of weird week this week. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I mean, we just had a long weekend. We had a bit of entertainment with white girls getting wasted over the weekend. Mm-hmm. You both fully recovered from that, though, I take it. Photos of women on sidewalks.
My WhatsApp chat has yet to recover.
Yeah. And,
come on.
And possibly the weirdest thing out of everything is we actually had a new trailer for the Ghostbusters reboot. Like, yeah, that was just...
Oh, yeah.
It just
I
felt
still
like
haven't
a weird
watched
week.
it.
Oh, yeah, you haven't seen it?
Yeah, I've just heard mixed things, so I was like, I'm going to wait.
I'm not... Look, I think... Well, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, but I don't hate the trailer. I'm not sold on the necessity of the reboot.
I'm not like hating on it, and they're rebooting it because it's a cool thing, hopefully. Yeah. And they like money. Well,
that's pretty much how all of these things get started, isn't it? I'm actually kind of happy about the fact that it's going to be a more accessible franchise for kids, sort of, coming through the next generations. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. The Ghostbusters, man, just the whole thing with them in Lego Dimensions is kind of cool. I don't know if you've seen the sets that have come out for that.
No.
Yeah. If there's one place that I think Ghostbusters definitely still belong, it's at Lego. Definitely with Lego. There's some cool stuff there. But so what's everyone been doing? We got a long weekend worth of gaming in theory, so I'm assuming some peeps have done stuff. I'll kick off this week for something different, shall I?
Sure.
All right. Well, I actually spent most of the last week avoiding playing a particular game, as you guys probably noticed from our chat. So there's a game that I learnt about online because it's been gathering a fair bit of momentum from apparently the creator doing some really, really cool stuff by his fans and getting quite a following behind him. And that game is a little title called Stardew Valley. You guys heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I know you have, Jan, because you kind of brought it up in the first place. And it's probably your fault, actually.
Yeah. My fault entirely. I'm an enabler.
Yeah. What? Okay, so full disclosure, I have not purchased this game yet. I've come so close about half a dozen times this week.
Me too.
Yeah, it's been really, really tempting. So apparently it's very, very similar to Harvest Moon, which I never played either. It's like a kind of, society, village building kind of farming type game with a lot of exploration and all sorts of weird stuff like that. So it's the kind of game...
It's top-down Farmville Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Which on paper, it's the kind of game that sounds like I really wouldn't be into. But the more I think about it, the more I realise that I'm really into it. So I can't... But the thing that's been turning me off big time is the fact that the time commitment looks like the big thing. So a lot of the reviews and sort of feedback that people have been posting online, people have been going, where Civilization is like a one more... click game, like one more day. This is like a one more week kind of game, and people have been losing time and like buying the game and then 48 hours later realizing that they haven't slept yet and crazy stuff like that. So yeah,
jeez.
As much as I'm keen for a game that is in theory that good, I kind of have other stuff on my plate as far as games go at the moment, and picking up another massive one like that where I probably want to spend like 90 hours getting into and finishing off Witcher 3. Probably not the best idea, so I've stayed my guard on that one. Still could fall and buy it, but yeah. For now we're good. But I have been. What's that?
I checked it out, and I was just like, there was nothing there for me.
Yeah, it's not your kind of taste, I would expect.
No, it is normally. Like, that
Really?
sort of stuff. Everything you described there appeals, but the game itself, in combination, just doesn't do anything.
Okay, what
I
was
looked at it and
the
went, meh.
what was the last thing you played that was like that you enjoyed?
Like Civilization and Minecraft and any other 4X game, essentially. Just an isometric one.
Okay, have any of you guys actually played Harvest Moon?
No.
No.
No, all right, cool. All right, well, what I did sink a bunch of time into was Metal Gear Solid 5. And still loving that game, but I had a really, really interesting week with it. So on Saturday night, I'd pumped a whole bunch of time into it the preceding days leading up to that point. And I got up to the final mission, and as you do in most of the Metal Gear games, you sort of have like a massive boss fight against Metal Gear, which is it takes different forms in all the different Metal Gear games, but it's usually a walking tank of some sort that has nuclear capability. That's typically the theme, and this one was no different. So you're sort of running around the countryside, trying to rocket launcher it from afar and not getting too close. And
Are you going to spoil it?
No. This is pretty
feel like
standard
you can-
Metal
Okay,
Gear
I'm just
stuff.
going to put it out there. Luke, spoiler alert. Let's just say spoiler alert.
All right.
Spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't want to know the
Okay.
twists and
Tune
turns of
out
Metal
for
Gear
like
Solid
5
or
minutes.
Fair call. All right.
anything to do with the outcome.
Everybody
Because Luke
has been
said
warned.
it's not going to spoil it, so it probably
It's
will.
going to be a spoiler.
Everybody has been warned. All right. Yeah,
Probably already
this,
done it
this bit
already.
probably is a spoiler. All right. So I finished the mission, okay? I beat Metal Gear, finished the mission, the story stuff wrapped up, certain characters had been taken out of the story for various different plot means, some through death, some through other things that happen. And anyway, so the credits roll, and I'm on Twitter going, cool, just finished Metal Gear, feel pretty good about that. Turns out, I didn't just finish Metal Gear. That was the end of Act 1. The game trolled the shit out of me. It was not like anywhere near the end, as it turned out. So,
How is that not a spoiler?
well, we just did the spoiler alert, so it's covered.
So
Oh,
glad
you
I
are
spoke
just the worst.
Holy
just
shit.
the worst.
Yeah. Anyway, so if I had been paying attention up to that point, it probably would have been obvious because the game had actually sort of said at the very beginning, this is Act 1, and I got to the end of Act 1 and, I was kind of thinking it was the end of the game because of how much hours I'd sunk into it. I was probably about 60 hours in by that point. But no, as it turns out, that was not the end of the game. So I'm in Act 2 now, and it's weird. One of the things that is happening in Act 2 that I'm really not a fan of is it's actually repeating previous missions. And it gets a little weird in places. So just to give you one example of this, the mission earlier on in the game where you actually encounter the sniper Quiet, which we sort of, we talked about her as a character last week. So it's a really, really cool mission. You basically have a boss fight against her where you're basically trying to, crawl around and snipe at each other without being detected. And, it's really tough because she basically flashes a red dot laser sight at you if you see her, and it's really hard to shoot at her when you've got that blinding you. The whole thing is there's like story video and stuff that goes with it, and when you beat her, it's like a pretty pivotal moment in the game. And then, of course, she ends up sort of working with you later on. Now, they actually give you that mission again in the second act, and I was just like, huh? I didn't actually realise what it was until I started playing it. But then I went back to the mission list and worked out it's the exact same mission, it's the same name, they've just put the word extreme in front of it. So it's like a replay on an extreme difficulty level. But it has all of the same sort of video stuff that goes with it in terms of how it links in with the story. So it actually makes
That's
no
awkward.
sense whatsoever. Yeah. So I was a bit disappointed with that, I've got to say. It took me right out of the immersion because it was like, I've done this before. What value does it add chucking? It's just padding, essentially. So it was really, really, unexpected and kind of disappointing. And it's the first thing that's disappointed me about this game story-wise, I've got to say. So the rest of it's been fantastic. But I don't even get the idea of making it an extreme mission because by that point of the game, you're so equipped up and you've got a whole bunch of tools and abilities that you didn't have before that it's not even an extreme difficulty because, for example, in this case, you're fighting against a sniper. One thing I didn't have available to me to do before is that now when you spot something that's, over the other side of the map, you can just call down an airstrike on it and then GG. So I finished the mission in like 2 minutes flat. There was no challenge at all. So
Who knows? Maybe it'll work in with the story when you actually do finish the game.
Yeah, I doubt that. I know how many missions are in the game now because I did a quick look just to do a count and work out roughly
You
how far
Googled it
from
to
the end
spoil
I
it for
was.
yourself.
Well, I didn't spoil anything apart from the length of the game, so just wanted to get an idea. It was more just planning the remaining time commitment more than anything. But look, there's a ton of side mission content that I haven't finished yet, and I'll probably get through. There's like literally nearly 100 side missions, and most of the side missions are not quick to do. Like, they take a little bit of effort to sort of get the stuff that you need to get. So there's still heaps of playing that game left. So, yeah. But, no, it's still having fun, just a bit weird. And the other thing, of course, which I played, which several of you did as well, was The Division, which launched yesterday. So, Tom Clancy's The Division. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a game that's pretty
indie
big.
game, small indie game.
Yeah, yeah. From the Clance, or Tom as I like to call him, Tomo. Little Tom, yeah. Hey, do you know the weird thing about The Division is that a lot of the other Clancy stuff is based on his works, but I don't believe he's ever actually written a novel about this particular story at all. It's kind of just, it's almost like Clancy-esque in terms of the subgenre that he has created through a lot of his works being focused on like massive disasters. Military sort of gets involved, specialists sort of, get into the situation. There's some sort of, vast threat that's organised, orchestrated or engineered by government agents or something like that. I don't think there's actually a book on it though. So am I wrong? Does anyone know about a Tom Clancy Division?
No idea.
I would have no idea.
Is.
Well, I mean, different to say like
no.
Rainbow Six.
Have they
because
just
Rainbow
converted
Six
something he was going to make into a book into a game? I thought that's what was going on.
It's possible. I don't know. Yeah, possibly. I mean, it could be something he's doing in the future.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I want to say it's not based on a book that he's done.
It very well could be. Because, I mean, it hits all the same sorts of, beats that a lot of his stuff does.
I just put up the wiki article for all his games, and everything that's in there says based on movie or based on book. Division does not have that.
Okay, interesting. So maybe the first of its kind. So,
which would make sense, because it's the first one made since his death, I think.
Okay. All right. That is interesting. All right.
Could be wrong on that. Yes, I am wrong. Rainbow Six Shield, of course.
Yeah.
Siege. Not Shield.
So, Division, interesting so far. Like, I mean, we've literally only spent sort of, about 24 hours playing this game. It came out yesterday, so some of us had it preloaded. I, unfortunately, was not that organised.
You got left behind.
I did, but I mean, to be fair, I only kind of decided last minute that I was going to jump in and buy it. I was on the fence for a little while because, I mean, it looked like a really, really good game, but again, time commitment and other competing interests, so I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to jump in or not, but I eventually relented and did. And I had a really, really crap experience with it yesterday, but I still think it's a really good game and I'm glad I bought it. So... and I'm sure we'll have a better crack at giving it a good review next week when we've all put a bit more time into playing it.
After this show, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I will listen intently.
Oh, man. It's such a... I mean, the issues that I had yesterday were... Some of them appeared to be commonplace. Like, a lot of people were... experiencing issues earlier in the day with the servers not being particularly stable. Thankfully, by the time I got on, that wasn't too big a thing. But, I mean, despite all of their server stress testing during the beta, apparently they didn't quite get that sorted, and there was a lot of people that couldn't log in for a good part of the day. I think, were you saying, Jamie, that your brother Sam earlier in the day was having problem connecting as well? Did he experience that?
There was a 30-minute server issue problem.
Okay.
But the... got over it pretty quickly and
yeah, I mean, it's probably the case with a lot of this where people sort of, the issues that they have are, they seem a lot bigger than they are because day one people just like to, whinge and bitch and moan about them big time.
Yeah.
And I
Why
certainly
is my game not perfect?
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of a strange thing and a shame in a way because when you look at a lot of the discussion and online sort of reviews on Steam and stuff on day one, it paints a really negative picture of the game when it probably is really undeserving of that. And I mean, a lot of the comments that I saw on Steam, in particular yesterday, were like, thumbs down on this game, couldn't connect. It's like, okay, cool. That's a day one impression. That's certainly not a review of how the game is going to be past that, teething problem.
It's like saying, man, this movie sucks. Big Q, would not watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But speaking of queues, that was probably the crappiest part about yesterday. There's a section in the opening for the game where you basically have to go to a safe house and activate your agent status. And I don't know what was going on, but myself and Anthony, who's another one of the Perth posse, sort of jumped on and we were trying to get to this front desk and there was an actual physical queue of players in this room. Like people were lining up in front of this desk waiting to move forward and activate their agent status. And you can't actually progress. Well, yeah, it was and it wasn't. The reason why they were lining up is because they were realizing that if too many people got too close to the object at the front of the room, then nobody could actually successfully interact with it. And there were idiots trying to cut the line and jump in the front and trying to do that. And as soon as, it got all Lord of the Flies-ish and stuff got crazy, then nobody could get anywhere. So, people eventually realised that the only way that they were going to be able to, get past that point was to work together and, give each other some space and form an orderly queue. But it got messy. It got real messy. Like the problem with this game immediately that I can see with the way that the characters work is that you occupy physical space. You can't phase through other players. So if you're standing in the way of someone, you are literally in the way of someone, and it's very hard for them to shift you. So when you're standing in a massive queue that's basically leading across the entire room that you're standing in, nobody can get from one side of the room to the other because there's a line of people in the way. So it's kind of frustrating. And if you've got anyone standing in a door, and this happened to me quite a bit last night, and there's been a lot of reports online by people, deliberately griefing each other by doing this and standing in doorways, you can't get past the person. Like, you can jag it by sprinting at them and trying
makes
to
me laugh.
Yeah,
it's just all like first, they say, oh, the servers crashed. Of course they did. They had a beta to server load test. You will never be able to test the load on the servers that you're going to get on day one of a game. And some of the biggest developers release games and still have these problems, no matter how much money you throw at it, because you just can't have 5,000 people fitting into a hole made for one person. No. And so hopefully this is just one of those things, and you're not one of those people, Luke, who are making a negative review on the game just because you had issues on day one.
I had a frustrating night. I'm not going to beat around the bush with that. It was it was a crappy experience, yeah.
I'm going to shit all over his review anyway.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Oh, look, the bit that I have played past that point, I'm a huge fan of. There's a lot of stuff to love about the game, and I think the more I play, the more I'm going to enjoy it. But that one opening thing, it was nearly an hour wasted. I was so frustrated last night. It was ridiculous. So I just don't understand. Server load is one thing, but allowing players to get in each other's ways, they should have anticipated that, if they were going to have even at least, a dozen people in a room, that was going to be an issue. So, and one laptop at the front allowing players to activate, and you can't activate if other people are in the way. Surely they could have put some thought into instancing that so that people just don't tread on each other's toes. I don't know. I think there's some design decisions to be discussed there.
After yesterday and today, I don't think you're going to find more than one other person in that room with you, though.
Yeah. I think that's a day one problem.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
You're going to design games for most, not
that. Yeah, that's true.
One instance.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope everyone past the point that I got on has a much smoother time, because I can see that once you actually get in and start playing the game, it's pretty rad. So I won't say too much more about it, because I've played a lot less than you guys. But Jam, do you want to take it from there and talk about your experience?
Yeah. So when I jumped on, I think there was one other friend who just started. No, two. You and Ari were already on, Ollie?
No, I joined after you guys had.
Oh, and then we had a fourth join soon after. So we managed to get pretty much a group of 4 noobs. We grouped up and we got from level 0 to level 7 together yesterday.
Yeah, I was
awesome.
Just behind.
And 4 is the cap for a small group like that in the game, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving... I didn't realise how extensive the modification system was.
Holy crap,
even your armour. Oh, so cool. I've barely glanced at the crafting, but I'm very intrigued. It looks like you need to craft, which means dismantling really good gear to make the very best gear in the game. There's still so much to see and do. I mean, my brother's already hit level 30
He's a freaking psycho.
Yes,
that guy.
He's a machine.
He didn't work today, that's why.
I walked over to see what he was up to, and he's like, wait, and hits inventory, and his screen's just purple.
But Ollie, he was like level 20, he was like level 22 this morning when we were all waking up and going to work anyway. So,
He's just really good at this sort of thing. He's already talking about making a second character. Yeah, I'm enjoying it thoroughly, and I'm having so much fun playing with people. I'm finding that the bigger missions are a lot more enjoyable with a group, especially a group that's communicating, which is great because that's one of the promises of the game, and that doesn't always, not all games can follow through with that. So while you can solo a lot, it's just really cool to be saying, I'm going to take left, you heal him, let's try and get the guy with the tank on his back.
I think the comment I made was, we sound like an E3 demo.
Yeah, we were doing really well. We haven't failed anything yet, have we?
Nah, the worst we've had is a couple of people dying, and that's it.
And that was that one lag spike that we experienced.
Massive lag spike.
For about maybe 5 minutes, and then it cleared up. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to be jumping back on.
But you guys are using Mumble, not the in-game TeamSpeak, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
I've disabled my mic in-game. We were getting double ups, and I'd rather just continuous chat to people I know than...
True.
Once we get Dark Zone,
Complete randoms.
we'll probably swap that so we can communicate with others, but for the moment, we'll keep it at that.
It's fun.
Yeah, you want to be able to mess with other people in the Dark Zone, don't you? Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more the
Eventually.
don't shoot me
Yeah,
than messing with them.
and then shoot them.
So, yeah, played a chunk of that. But before that, I tried to finish Crypt of the Necrodancer. I was like, Division's coming out. I'll give it another crack. I got past Zone 3. Oh, my God.
Hats off to you for that.
Oh, it was just such a thrill. And now I'm in Zone 4, and I don't think I've got past level 1. It's very purple.
God.
Wow.
And it's very fast, and there's new monsters, and I'm still learning their patterns, and it's just intense, and it's you got to break through a lot of obstacles. Like you're in enclosed rooms everywhere that you have to keep knocking down walls to get through. But it's so cool, and I've got a new set of music to listen to, so I'm excited. I can just tell I'm going to be picking that game up regularly for like when I've got 10 minutes to kill.
Yeah.
It's so enjoyable. Played a bunch of Rocket League. Oh, I love Rocket League. I have like good days and bad days. I'm completely inconsistent with my performance, but so much fun when you're playing with friends. We're just talking shit and being ridiculous, especially when we put what were we playing? The hockey with the puck?
Yeah.
And the pinball one, which one of our friends keeps calling ping pong, where it bounces really high and really fast. It's so hard to judge the ball, but it's so much fun because everyone just keeps messing up. Other than that, just a little bit of Portal Knights and Firewatch, but had some IT issues with those, and I don't know if it's because I moved my computer. I've got to figure out what's going on there. And a bit of GTA.
So how far into Firewatch are you now?
I think I'm still near the start of day 2.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I seem to have lost controller support for the D-pad on the Xbox controller because it's not working. I can't bring up my map or my compass, and I'm supposed to be going somewhere, and I don't know where that is.
You can easily play that game with keyboard, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
Probably
I played it
will.
with keyboard. Yeah.
There's not a lot of controls to it, so...
I know, but then I can't sit back in my big squishy chair.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that was my week.
Cool. Ollie, how's your divisioning going?
Yeah, because of the new PC, Division is quite possibly one of the prettiest games I've ever played. Holy crap, that game looks amazing. And the sound quality is really good as well. Like the sounds, they've done an excellent job on.
I like the cutscenes. The cutscenes are great.
All the characters are a little too intense for my liking. They've done the whole, "Hell yeah, this is our country and we're taking it back" sort of thing. I'm like, well, that's great. Good on you being a patriot. You're American. I swear no one's as patriotic as Americans. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a fact. And that's okay. There's me alienating half our audience again. Woohoo, go me. But no, I've had no issues with it. I've had one teeny tiny camera issue where it's gone through a bollard by accident that's been behind me. And other than that, it's been pretty much perfect for me. So I'm loving that. I enjoy cover-based shooters and that sort of thing, so that's good fun. The only thing I will say that I don't like, and I know it's because of the way the game is set up, is it's a game that looks so realistic and the way you move and all that sort of stuff that when you shoot a guy 10 times in the head, it kind of detracts from it because you're doing the numerical value damage rather than the straight kill sort of thing.
Yep.
That's my only gripe. And it's such a minor gripe, but I know why it's set up the way it is, a la Borderlands and Destiny and whatnot. But that, for me, is just a bit of like, really? Full clip in the face, you're still going? Okay. But that's a very minor gripe, because it's me getting used to that style of game, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Played a bit of Rocket League with the peeps. That's good fun. I went from I'm going to uninstall it because the couple of people that we play with are ridiculously good at it compared to me, and it gets frustrating. And then,
Like the sort of people that get to level 30 on Division launch day. Yeah.
Yep.
Assholes.
that's okay though. Then I played it with another guy who's about the same level as me. I was like, well, no, let's keep this game going, sort of thing. And then it wasn't too bad. So I practiced a bit on that and got better at it, and then I was less salty. And yeah, then played some more Super Hot. So I finished the main story, and I'm just doing like endless modes and the different challenges, which let you replay through certain levels, but only with like certain abilities unlocked, or you have to do it a certain way. And that's been very, very cool. Like the extra replayability in that game is awesome.
So, as the probably the only one of us that hasn't and is unlikely to pick up the Division, what was your week of gaming like, Imogen?
Yeah, I'm not one for the FPSs. I didn't get in a whole bunch of gaming, as it turned out. I had the game of my life in Rocket League, which was not at the same time with you guys playing, but I managed to purposely shoot at goal, which was exciting.
Great
Level up.
success.
And opposite to Ollie, I actually enjoy playing with the guys that are super great, because they are more tolerant of my inability to play the game. Because
They carry us, right?
Yeah, me not being able to play the game along with other people who maybe aren't so brilliant, and therefore we also lose, it's maybe not as tolerated. But if I'm rubbish and we most of the time always win, then at least I'm getting some real life experience against real people. And it's fun. And that's one of those games you're just going to pick up and play forever. But yay, I feel like I'm slowly starting to learn how to play that game. Played the tiniest amount of GTA, but I've been having some real issues whenever I log in, getting some significant lag. And because we quite often play online with other people, that affects, when you're traveling in cars together and that kind of thing. And just wasn't working out for me. So we jumped off that. I played a small bit of Super Hot. Again, I think that game is just going to be something that sticks around. Like, it's just going to be something that I pick up, play for a little bit, and then move on to something else, kind of like a warm-up game. Not through the main story or anything yet, but really enjoying sort of taking my time and trying to figure out the sort of optimal way through a level to make it look the most awesome when I have that replay. Other than that, I spent a significant time this week with Lara in Tomb Raider.
That was another one I was real tempted to pick up, because Square Enix had their Steam sale this week, and that was 20% off, so my finger was hovering over the
It's so worth it. That game is huge. It's going to take me years to finish that game. Oh my goodness. I got to a point where I think I'm only like 15 or 17% done through the game. But I've just sort of got to this point, and I got to a base camp, and it came up with like, this area has, X number of X. And I realized that all I've done is played the tutorial. It's really cool. And it's been true of the last couple of games, so I hear, but the choreographed nature of it is great. So when you're just walking through like a hole or whatever, rather than her just sort of ducking down and going through it, she'll sort of grab the corner of it and pull herself around. Like, it's just, they've done it so well that you do kind of feel like you're just participating in a cutscene. And it's just really fascinating to watch, and the story is really interesting. So I'm really, really enjoying that game. And I love the you can spend your points in different ways, and so she can be a different Lara depending on what you're trying to concentrate on. So I just recently upgraded her perk so that she more efficiently and quickly kills animals, so that I don't have the issue that we had before.
I was going to say, we've got a ghost
with the
deer
screaming
update.
and limping deer. No. I've also made it easier to find them again if I do shoot them. They leave more obvious trails and things like that. So I'm going to try and make her more efficient at hunting, so that I can minimize my horrifying experience with having to kill animals for the purpose of the game. I'm no good at shooting birds, though. I'm rubbish at birds. It's just a shame you need feathers for so many things. But we'll see how we go. But yeah, that was it. That's all I've done.
Nice.
No Division for me.
No Division for you. Well, if you're not going to get your FPS on with Division, there is something that we now have a release date on that you might be able to jump in on. So we now know when Overwatch is coming out. So, who's excited? Show of hands. No, don't do a show of hands. No one can see it.
I will
I am
slurp a drink.
so excited. Cannot wait. And I'm happy they announced an open beta as well beforehand.
Yeah.
Is it early access open beta or generic open beta?
It's going to have, like, from the 3rd of May or something to the 6th, it's going to be if you pre-order the game, and then it's going to be open beta from 9th to something else. So that sounds like them testing server load a little bit, probably. Also, they'll be able to sort of gauge interests and sort of pip maybe some of the other games at the post that are being released early June. So I'm super excited. Cannot wait. I'm going to predetermine who I want to play, and hopefully they're available in the beta. Give that a go. Going to have to invest in a second computer screen to make sure I'm not playing on my tiny laptop screen.
Squint constantly.
Because I have to play on PC, because then I won't be able to play with you guys if I get it on Xbox, blah, blah, blah. But I'm super excited.
Yeah. Like after Mass Effect, which was probably my most anticipated game of 2016, which now probably won't be in 2016 if recent scuttlebutt is to be believed. This is probably my next most anticipated game this year, and mostly because A, it's Blizzard, B, because it already looks awesome, and C, because just about every person involved in the game's media who's been involved in the beta in some way, shape or form has had nothing but glowing, raving stuff to say about it. So I'm very excited about this one. I think it's going to be very, very cool.
Yeah, and I think it differs a little bit from like a traditional FPS. And it is sort of kind of like Heroes of the Storm. Like you kind of pick up, you play sort of a match or an instance or whatever they're going to call it, and can put it down again. So I think that's sort of interesting for me, as well as the fact that I was really looking forward to, was it Battle Cry that got cancelled?
Yeah, that was the Bethesda one.
Yeah. Really looking forward to that, and we played that a little bit, and I thought, hey, I quite like this kind of genre, like being able to sort of, right, I'll do ranged and, all that kind of thing. So, really looking forward to it.
It's possibly one of the worst named games, though, like Battle Cry at a time that, I think Battleborn was also a big thing.
Battleborn was coming out, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, man, you just couldn't have picked a worse time to make a generic named product like that. But, yeah. Ollie, to answer your question around beta access and stuff, so basically the way it's working is that there's going to be a beta for pre-purchases or pre-orders from May 3 to 4th. And then after that, everybody gets a chance to play free during an all-access open beta
so
from
what you're saying
May 5th
is
onwards.
What Imogen said.
Did you split it?
3 minutes ago, yep.
Sorry, I did not hear you say the second bit. Yeah.
Cool guy
I'm
Luke
so
strikes
glad that you
again.
listen when I talk.
Really makes her feel like part of the team.
I'm glad because I want to try the beta before I purchase, so that's very good news for me.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, that was the biggest thing. It's like, I know I really want to play it. I know Luke will play it, but in order to get you lot hooked, we need a free beta.
Oh, look, I'm pretty certain amongst our larger group of friends that there'll be a number of them jumping into this one too. So
you will have sufficient amounts.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys will be done with Division by then, right?
I'll be done with Division as a result of Overwatch, more than likely. So no, but it'll be good fun. I think that they're just sort of nutting out the progression system and some of the competitive play aspects at the moment. There was a developer video that came out a few days ago, sort of detailing some of their thought behind that, and everything's looking really positive. I think they're, it's Blizzard. This is not their first rodeo. They know how this sort of stuff works. So. I think the biggest difference with this game compared to other recent sort of multiplayer esports focused releases is that it actually has a shelf price for the game itself, as opposed to being, built around microtransactions to unlock all of the playable characters and things like that. But given that it's the sort of game which is encouraging you to be able to switch between all of the characters mid-game and to create sort of more of a sense of balance, I understand why they've gone that way, because I think it makes a lot more sense to allow everybody access to everything from the get-go as opposed to locking it behind paywalls so that people have a different experience based on what's available. So makes a lot of sense. I mean, Heroes of the Storm is totally different, for example, because you pretty much play one character for a while and master that character, whereas Overwatch really does reward you from trying out everything. So
I don't know. I think I've already picked a couple of characters I definitely think that I'll like, and also a couple that I definitely think I would not enjoy playing. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, that should be good. So the other big news that sort of has been getting a fair bit of traction this week was a whole lot of information released about No Man's Sky. So now out of the four of us, I think, Imogen, you're probably the most keen on this game.
Also
at the
very
moment,
excited.
Yeah, so do you want to tell us about it? What about No Man's Sky do you know that's sort of appealing to you at the moment?
The best thing about No Man's Sky, so this has been on every, anticipated indie games of next year and predictions for indie awards and all sorts of things. This has been on those lists for a while now, and little to nothing has been shown about it other than some really great screenshots, which, to be honest, is the one thing that really sold it for me initially, is it just looks beautiful. It's an art style that I can appreciate. It did
feature on a late night with Stephen Colbert show a few months back, though. That was kind of where I think it got a bit of main media attention at the time.
It's been in develop for a really long time. So it's one of those, one of those things like indie games that they're always going to take a little while if you want them to be this polished. It's basically, if you have not heard of No Man's Sky, it is going to be a game where every player, it's multiplayer, so we're all in the same universe / galaxy, but every player will start on their own planet. And the most recent announcement came and told players that the likelihood of seeing another player in game is actually very low, even though you're all in the same area or you could share coordinates. The likelihood of finding another person is quite low. The idea is you are a person and you're going to fly around space and explore planets, gather resources to upgrade yourself and your ship, and you're searching for the center of the universe. That's effectively it. It's stunning. It has creatures that you can discover and name on each of the planets, and a hilarious video came out today about, of course, all of those animals are going to be swear words or or phallic or something like that. So that'll be interesting. So once you name them, they are named like that for everybody in the game. So if somebody finds your planet,
solid filters.
Yeah, if someone finds your planet, which is, like I said, rare, but the chances are they'll find it after you've gone, then they'll see if you've discovered something, that's its name forever. So you can imagine in the background of this game the amount of chunk that has to happen so that everyone, like all of that's coordinated. They've announced today that it's going to have a release date of 21st of June, which is really good because it's a hard date. It's not June, it's not, mid-quarter or anything like that. It's a hard date, so that's really good. They also announced that they'll include a premium version for $150 US. 150 US is a lot for a game, really, so I don't know what that includes, but I'm going to assume it's going to be some sort of specialized ship or something to start with, so you'll start a little bit more bumped up, and some other things. So it looks really good, and if you haven't seen it, give it a Google. There is lots of stuff out there, and a lot of reviewers and streamers and things have had their hands on it the last 2 weeks and have just been able to start talking about it. So you're going to see a lot more. So if you've not heard of it, No Man's Sky, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I really enjoy the idea of sort of walking around and exploring. It's got its own periodic table in the game. So they've got some sort of standard elements that are in there, but they also have created an entire different table of elements, and you're going to collect different elements by collecting different mats. And yeah, it's going to be great, and it's going to look beautiful. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, so I'll definitely be picking that one up in June, and it's our winter, which is perfect.
Yeah. It's weird sort of listening to a lot of the media coverage around this game. People who are asking the questions, a lot of the game reviewers and media sites and stuff, they just don't know what to ask because they just don't know what the game is. Like what are the activities you do in the game? What's the goal? All that sort of stuff. It just seems to be really shrouded and cloaked in mystery at the moment, which...
Well, they came out, the most recent announcement was, we can't give you much more detail other than to say there is a very strong draw to continue progressing through the game to try and find the center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the encountering of other players being such a backseat element to the game, it sounds a lot like that's going to be like the experience you get when you play Journey, where you sort of ghost past
They've
other
likened it to that.
players,
So they likened it to Journey in another game, but I can't remember what the other game was, but they weren't very similar. But it's going to be like in Journey. Like, you're not going to be going on and, like, chatting with people on there and, like, looking for group or anything like that. It's going to be you bump into someone, and it would be really cool if, like Journey, you could just create your own sort of language of beeps and bops to try and communicate to someone that you want to help them.
See, I actually
for
really
those of you
like
who play
this.
Journey.
Yeah.
This sounds cool because very few games do the scale of space well.
Yeah.
And so this sounds like it's actually going to do a good job of it. And I actually just looked up a little bit of it. So the whole galaxy that you're exploring, or universe, whatever, is procedurally generated. And apparently there's going to be 18 quintillion planets.
Yeah. That is a bullshit number.
That is a
so
huge
crazy.
number.
Yeah.
That is, a pretend number. And so just massive kudos. Like, when they announced this game and they said that what they really, initially I thought it was going to be kind of, you're going to bumble onto this planet. So if I don't play in the first month, everything's going to be named and everything's going to be, like, called Butt-Thesaurus or whatever.
Not going to be an issue.
Boob face. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're going to have mods on there or what's going to happen.
I imagine they'll have some thorough filters on there.
Or, like approval sort of thing. Like, you named this animal and you get like a certificate to say it's been approved or something. Someone's job is to look at all those. Would be hilarious.
Oh, so that person.
Apparently there are space police in the game. So maybe that.
If you hunt down too many animals and kill them, you do actually get a wanted level.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a GTA similar sort of style thing.
And it's just, I don't know, I think you hit the nail on the head, Dolly. I think the whole idea of the vastness of it is just fascinating to me, and I can't wait to get my hands on it.
It sounds really, really cool, and I'm glad they've stuck to their guns with being as unique as it sounds that they're going to be. I don't know if this is going to be the game for me as a result of some of those design decisions.
You get so bored.
Yeah,
You can't build anything. You can't really shoot much.
Apparently
You can upgrade
build
your stuff.
Yeah. Apparently there is a fair bit of crafting and stuff in the game. So, I don't know. Like, I think that the game would be enjoyable to a point. I just don't think it would be a longevity generator for me, personally. But I don't know.
That's fair.
The multiplayer aspect in a lot of games like this is what sort of drives me to continue coming back to the well. And if you don't have that, it's like, all these cool planets that you're exploring and naming stuff and all those bits and pieces. It just seems to me that sort of thing is something you want to be able to share with someone. So, what good is a planet that you name if you never see that planet again and nobody else does either?
Gen Y.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
What good is having fun if I can't share it with people?
Yeah, that's a fair comment. All right. Anywho.
Nail, head, etc.
Yep.
So not Gen Y. Anyway, so moving on. One of the things that we just missed out on at the time of recording our last episode was there was a Nintendo Direct, which was largely focused on 3DS and Wii U titles. So a few interesting things there. One in particular, which I thought might be of interest to you, Ollie, was some stuff announced for Super Mario Maker. Apparently, it's getting some new items. So, they're introducing some keys to the game, so you can actually build in doors that have keys linked to them, and you can attach a key to an enemy. So you can actually create levels where there's like a mini boss battle where you have to beat a particular enemy.
God, there's going to be some really annoying enemies for that now.
Yeah. And apparently there's a way you can actually make keys appear using pink coins. So you can have like a setup where you have to collect all of the pink coins scattered throughout a level for a key to appear. So,
and awesome, because the expert mode levels weren't hard enough, by the way. They are actually really fucking hard. I don't care what anyone says. They're now introducing super expert because people need to hate themselves even more.
Yeah.
Because why not?
So, how does that go? Is that like the 100 hardest levels as sort of voted on by the public that you go through?
It's called a 100 Mario challenge. So you have 100 Mario lives, and on easy mode you have to get through 8 levels. On the normal mode it's 16, and expert it's 16 as well. Mm-hmm. But the levels, I think, don't quote me on this, I think they're done by completion rate and community ratings.
Okay.
And so the maps that have a lot of playthroughs with a very low completion rate get put into the expert slots. Ones with a high completion rate with a high number of playthroughs get put in the easy slot, and so on. So it's an interesting little system, and yeah, goddamn, there are some hard-ass maps out there. to the point where some of them you have to know certain game glitches to be able to get through, and I've just gone, well, restart. Oh well.
Some of the speedrun techniques that those sorts of people use, kind of thing.
Oh, just actual game glitches rather than speedrun things, because most speedrun things are just people being ridiculously good at the game, not so much just abusing game like physics or geometry or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's fair. So a few other things mentioned during that Nintendo Direct. They've got a release date now for the Hyrule Warriors 3DS game, which is going to be March 24th for Europe and North America. Monster Hunter X is coming to the US. Metroid Prime Federation Force, which is the Metroid universe-themed shooter, which they announced some time ago, will actually feature a cameo by Samus Aran, which is... that whole game's just a weird one for me. I think a lot of people would agree that they would rather just see a straight-up Metroid sequel, but I don't know, whatever. Nintendo do some weird things sometimes.
Nintendo does what Nintendo wants.
That's exactly right. There is a new Kirby game coming, though, which includes giant robots and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
I love Kirby.
Yeah,
I like giant robots.
And a new Paper Mario for Wii U as well. So...
Because let's milk that Mario some more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's the only
Dance,
thing
monkey, dance.
Yeah, exactly.
So on the topic of sort of Nintendo-related stuff, this is not strictly speaking covered by the Direct, but Pokemon Go, so the open-world augmented reality Pokemon game that we spoke about some time ago. So now that has been slated for a 2016 release in the not-too-distant future, and there hasn't been a lot of information coming out about that recently. There was, in fact, a panel scheduled for the Game Developers Conference coming up shortly where there was going to be a presentation on Pokemon Go, but they've decided to cancel that in favour of putting more time into the testing. But there is apparently going to be a field test in Japan. So later this month, Japanese gamers can sign up for a field test, and they're going to be inviting users to field test Pokemon Go with a limited number of users, and they'll have the opportunity to share early feedback and help improve, the game and the experience for everybody prior to the public launch date. So
I'm actually more excited about this. Like, now you've just started talking about it. I think what needs to happen when that comes out is that we all get it, and then we have a race to see who can catch the most Pokemon.
I think that it could be the sleeper hit of the year. I really do. Like,
I could just have it on my phone and I could just be on the train and suddenly Pikachu.
Exactly. Like, I mean, one of the reasons why I play Hearthstone so much, for example, is it's because it's on my phone. If Pokemon Go was on my phone and I could catch stuff on the way to work and battle and train people.
Man, if they can work in like a zombie run, you guys have heard of that game, right? Mm-hmm. The running app where you chase by zombies.
Yeah.
With Pokemon Go, I'm in. I'm so in.
So chased by Pokemon?
No, you run. So like, you've got to run and get there by a certain point, otherwise they're going to escape.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'll pay that.
Yeah.
You're welcome, whoever's developing this,
But
for my great idea.
Ka-ching.
If this releases before PAX this year, I can see how that entire trip's going to go.
Yeah, we should get in like pairs and do like orienteering like around Melbourne.
Yeah.
Bags being on Ollie's team.
That would be pretty legit.
Bags not being on Luke's.
We might be able to run faster than you guys.
Yeah. Nice.
I'll tram it.
All over the place. Yeah. No, I mean, it could be a disastrous failure or it could be an absolute hit. So we'll wait and see. I'm edging towards hit because of the company involved. Like Niantic has sort of proven themselves with this sort of title. I just think, it's probably falling into that awkward space at the moment because there hasn't been a whole bunch of information coming out about it in recent times. A few people are starting to get a little bit antsy about it, sort of like, no news must be bad news kind of thing. But I don't know. I think they're just, it's an important title. They're just polishing it. They're getting it ready for release and they're not going to jump the gun too early. So
just picturing like awkward Pokemon Go moments. There's like a whole meme website, you're sitting on the beach having a romantic moment with your significant other. Suddenly Charizard. Pokemon, yeah.
Excuse me, dear, I just have to go catch this Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're having a nice grown-up dinner somewhere in the middle of the restaurant. There's Diglett.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best. I will definitely pick it up.
Nice. Yeah. And the only other thing we sort of had on the list was a quick Rocket League update, seeing as you guys have been doing a bit of that lately. Woo! Are you keen to play Rocket League with the Batmobile?
Yes!
Apparently that's going to be a thing.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it more classic Batmobile or is it more Tumblr Batmobile?
I believe
classic-y.
it's more Burton style.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, hang on. No, I lie. It's going to be more heavily based on the upcoming Dawn of Justice model, I believe, which is kind of... Yeah, it's kind of a cross between both. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. It doesn't look like the Tumblr, though. Definitely does not look like the Tumblr. It looks like...
The Tumblr was not great. Let's all agree.
You're
didn't
wrong.
mind it.
You're objectively wrong.
It was unique. I like the classic Batmobile. I really do like the model of the new one that's going to come up in Dawn of Justice, which is out in like less than a month. That crept up fast. Holy crap. It's like
I'm
no
still
time
not
at all.
interested.
Really?
No.
I find that fascinating.
Civil War, on the other hand, down. We'll be there. See the midnight screening. In.
Absolutely. Yeah, we should book that. That's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, anyway, moving away from civil wars of a Marvel sort and perhaps towards a civil war of an internet sort, Imogen, would you like to introduce our topic for tonight?
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about streaming, and not us streaming games necessarily, but watching game streams and how we do that, how we get, how or why we do that, and what platforms we use. So first of all, I guess the best way to start is, do you guys stream games? So Luke, do you stream games?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Ollie?
Every now and then.
And Jam?
No.
No.
It's a good mix. Good mix.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about stream gaming as well, I would say sort of rewatching Let's Plays and things would technically count, Jam. So I think you.
Oh, okay.
I think you have done some of that.
Yeah, a bit. But not heaps.
Not heaps. You did leave your Xbox playing like a playlist of Achievement Hunter so you could get an achievement on Xbox.
That was a surprise. It goes boop boop because we were playing board games all day and it was just background noise, listening to all of them carry on and laugh, and it was hilarious. And then it's like, you just got some achievement with here's some points on your gamer score. What the
Watching
hell?
5 hours of gaming videos on YouTube.
So
that was funny.
Jam, let me break this to you. You know those videos of Acquisitions Inc. that you've watched just about all of by now?
I haven't watched any of the videos.
Oh, you've only listened to the podcast. All right.
I'm on season 2 of the podcast.
All right. When you get to the videos of the actual live sessions they've done at PAX, then that's stream gaming. It's not video gaming, but it's still, still qualifies. Yeah.
I still, not very often. A bit of Rooster Teeth, mostly it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Luke, if you do stream gaming, what do you stream?
Oh man, a lot. So I'm pretty much well versed in the arts of the YouTubes and the Twitches. So I watch YouTube for a lot of game content, particularly when I want to learn about something that I'm considering purchasing, or if I want to learn sort of aspects of the gameplay that in an informational sense. I think probably the biggest example, and my son can share this one with me, is Minecraft. I've watched a stack of Minecraft videos when we were big into playing that game regularly every night, because the amount that you can learn about that game literally, cannot be understated. Like, there is so much content online that you can find that, and because it's a creative game, it was just really, really good to watch other people's creations and get inspired by that as well, as opposed to just the raw mechanics of how stuff works. Like getting ideas for building things and just seeing what other people are working on. I thought it was really, really cool. And a lot of people have taken games like Minecraft, and I guess Halo is the other very obvious one, because some of the earlier machinima videos were sort of set in the earlier Halo games, where they actually create narratives within those games and sort of put them into video form. So that sort of stuff's really entertaining as well. I quite enjoy that. But as far as Twitch gaming goes, like the live streaming stuff, I think that Twitch is really, really awesome for sort of live events that we, particularly because of where we're located effectively at the end of the world over here in Perth, we just literally can't get to a lot of places that have big events on. So, watching them streamed live on Twitch is a really, really good opportunity for us to feel like we're there without actually, having to fork out the multi-thousands of dollars and hassle and travel. BlizzCon being a great example. Like Blizzard's become really, really good at live streaming a lot of their content at BlizzCon every year. And
thanks, Blizz.
Yeah, exactly. And particularly this year, because it's going to clash with PAX Australia as well. So,
It is.
Yeah, so we can go back afterwards and see, delayed telecasts of a lot of that stuff. And and even at PAX last year, I thought it was a really, really good opportunity to know that a lot of the content which was going to be at the convention that we were at was actually going to be recorded and streamed on Twitch. So I could not attend the keynote presentation and instead, go to the Bethesda display and know that I'm not going to miss that keynote. I can actually see it after the show, where it's not an issue if I leave it for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Some of the panels that I couldn't get to, that sort of thing.
Yeah. We'll talk more. So, Ollie, what do you stream?
Mostly Let's Plays. So I've got a few YouTube channels that I follow with them doing various Let's Plays of games that every now and then they'll do a Twitch stream that I'll pop on over to if I can, depending on the time, because us being in Australia often doesn't mesh well with UK or American time. So that's only on occasion. And yeah, mostly just the long-running series of, like, if there's a game that I know I won't get around to playing, I'll watch a Let's Play of that. Or if I know that, I essentially watch more, that's what I'm looking for, like radio talk shows that are done via Let's Play, if that makes sense. Like, it's just guys talking and having fun and making jokes that happen to be playing a game.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I've got another channel which has comedy, but then he also analyzes the game and makes some really good plot connections here and there. So I try to avoid that for games that I want to play, or I'll play them and then I'll watch and see how they've done it differently.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of similar. I mean, I guess when we're talking about different platforms, I watch significantly more saying that. So if we're going to talk about hours, I watch significantly more Twitch, but that's for one reason only, and that's because I watch Critical Role on Twitch, which is a Geek and Sundry D&D, which is 4 hours a week. So I watch a lot of Twitch, and for me, Twitch, I usually tune in when it's live if I can. And the only other reason I use Twitch is for having a look at past con stuff, so BlizzCon stuff, and like Luke said, PAX, when we don't, like our most recent PAX, knowing that a lot of it was recorded, if there was something else on or we were in a queue for something and it wasn't something that I was super interested in, I knew that they were probably going to record it and the chances are I would be able to watch that afterwards, and I did. I watched a lot of PAX content post actually being at PAX, like the Q&As and things like that. And usually for the other PAXs, I watch the same content as well. I watch the keynote, I watch the Q&As, and if it's one of the ones in the States, I watch the Acquisitions Incorporated one. Every time.
Yeah.
Which is coming up soon. Yay.
Absolutely.
Other than that, YouTube, oh my goodness. I watch a lot of Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth, majority. And then on top of that, Geek and Sundry. So Geek and Sundry and their YouTube gaming is a little bit varied because it's not just video games, obviously. They also play a lot of board games. But on top of that, from Geek and Sundry, I now follow a lot of different people on their separate channels who stream themselves playing video games. And like you said, Ollie, a lot of times I'll watch Felicia Day play a game like Life is Strange because I spoiled it for myself. So I'll watch her play that rather than play it myself, and because it has that added up sort of comedy value, I guess, or interest value of watching somebody else play through it and somebody who I enjoy listening to and watching and their opinions of the game. But I think most of my YouTube time is gaming. And so a lot of times, like you said, Luke, if you mention a game like The Division, I'm not going to play it, but what I'll probably do is watch one of the copious amounts of YouTube videos you guys will link about funny things that happen in The Division. And like there was one posted up this morning, which I thought was hilarious, which was the E3 demo voiceovers versus in real life. And it was just entirely accurate to what I could see you guys doing, just doing jumping jacks and taking photos of each other, which happened just not an hour ago. So, yeah. Do you usually access it from your PCs, or Luke, are you watching on the train to work, or what's the deal?
So I hope nobody from work is listening. No,
busted. Spoiler alert.
What I will do occasionally is there's a couple of things that just aren't available as audio only streams, and one really good example of this was the Game Awards last year. So I have at times actually sort of loaded up the Twitch app on my phone and listened to some of those presentations and just not looked at the screen, like turn my phone upside down and just listen to it like an audio presentation. Yeah. While I'm working, because I can tap away on my computer and listen to something without being distracted by it. It's just sort of background noise for me, and it actually makes me considerably more productive if I've got something going on. I'm sort of one of those workers that can do that. Similar to people who, do hobbies like Ollie and I are into with painting miniatures and that kind of thing, and having the TV on in the background. Like, a lot of people find that quite soothing. So I find that really, really useful. As far as not on the phone stuff goes, I'll probably watch most of it on my PC at home. Like, I do a lot of TV watching on my home PC. Like, I'm happy just to sort of sit in my comfy office chair and watch TV. So sitting down and watching, VODs or live streams of things is quite comfortable for me, and I'll do it here. Often because if I'm watching a game stream that's anything to do with a game that I actually play, it's usually a game that I will play on that PC as well. So having the streaming and the game itself sort of next to each other means I can sort of stop and pause and play the game. The biggest example of that, of course, is Hearthstone. Like, I do watch a lot of Hearthstone streams because it's a really good way to sort of see what people's different strategies and deck builds and things are. And then when I watch a particularly exciting or inspiring, game or tournament where someone's used a deck or a combo or something that I want to try out, I'll just pause the stream and I'll load it up in the game client. So, it's quite handy to do.
How about you, Ollie? And how do you access it? So are you watching it predominantly on PC?
Pretty much PC for the vast majority. And then if I am doing my other nerdy hobbies, it'll be on the tablet, just to my side with headphones in, just a sort of noise in the background. So it's very similar to Luke in that regards. And then occasionally at work when I have a bit of downtime and I have nothing better to do. But no one at work will listen, so that's fine.
One thing I will say just on that, though, is a lot of the consoles these days, I'm pretty sure Xbox One and PS4 are both built in with like a Twitch app. I know there's a YouTube one on PS4 now as well. I'm not sure if the YouTube one's available on Xbox or not.
YouTube has a more Xbox affiliation,
Does it? Okay, cool.
Yes.
I think they're leaning towards the YouTube side than the Twitch side.
Yeah.
Also, I have recalled that I have actually switched on Twitch once. Way back when, I actually watched the end of Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
I heard, like, I was playing Minecraft, and I heard that they were getting close. I was like, oh, okay. So I was playing Minecraft on my laptop. I had Twitch playing on my Xbox, and every now and then I'd look up and see him running into a wall and just giggle. But yeah, praise Helix. I saw them beat that, and that was fun. But that's the only thing I've watched on Twitch. Otherwise, it's YouTube, usually on my Xbox, sometimes just on my iPad watching some Let's Plays.
I guess the real trick for us with Twitch is that a lot of the content being US-centric, the time zones aren't usually that friendly for us. So I think, a lot of the stuff that we might tend to watch and be interested in would be more post-recorded video on demand as opposed to live stream at the time on Twitch. So
I find, the Geek and Sundry guys, they have their main sort of stuff between 7 and 11 Pacific time in the US, which falls to 11 a.m. to sort of 2 or 3, depending on when they finish. So smack bang in the middle of the day, I will listen to. So like you said, Luke, what I tend to do is load it up on my mobile, flip my phone down the other way, and I just listen to it. And that's the Critical Role stream. And so if I'm not doing anything other than, Friday is an in-office day or something, then I can quite easily sort of, work away and listen to it at the same time. But being a Friday, usually there's a lunch on or you're doing something, and so you usually lose it. And then the difficulty with a lot of the Twitch stuff is that because it is paid subscriptions, usually as well, what they'll do is you can only access the replay of it instantly if you are a subscriber.
Yeah.
So if I don't watch it live on Friday, then I don't get it until Tuesday, our time, and then it's on YouTube.
It's one of the things I actually find frustrating about Twitch is that whenever there's a big stream going on, usually with Twitch you can't actually watch back to the beginning of that stream until the stream finishes, whereas YouTube actually does have a feature where you can back it up and watch the beginning of something that's still actually in progress of being broadcast. So I
believe if you're a subscriber you can.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on that. I've not subscribed to anything on Twitch, but I believe it's probably an option, and it's a choice that the people make, and they're trying to provide a priority content for their own viewers. And Rooster Teeth do the same thing. You can watch live streams of everything that they do, like their podcasts and everything else, instantly in replays as a subscriber, or you can wait until it's released on YouTube, which is usually, 3 or 4 days later.
Where they've had a chance to sort of polish it a little bit and put all the buffering around the presentation. So.
Sometimes
very
you
rarely.
lose. Yeah, very rarely. And like we just announced in a couple of podcasts ago, one of the things that will come with these Twitch replays now is the ability to relook at chat that's coming through.
Yeah.
Again, I will reiterate, I do not know how any human can read most of those chats.
Oh, they're both as bad as each other.
Yeah.
Yay, let's get the chance to read nothing but spammed emojis for 2 hours.
Spammed emojis, and
they're both
you
bad
should
in
have
different
done
ways,
this,
though.
and-
I mean, Twitch chat is mostly just nonsense. It's just exactly what you said. It's just spammed emojis, and usually people going kappa, kappa, kappa. But YouTube is bad in a different respect, in that you usually look at the comments below a video, and it's just endless streams of vitriol. It's ridiculous.
Why do you read the comments, Luke? Come on,
Yeah,
now.
don't read the
Rookie
comments.
mistake.
Every now
The
and then
best thing that
there's a little
YouTube
bit of
ever
entertainment.
did was make comments almost hidden on its standard interface, so that you're not seeing it directly under the video all the time. That's the best.
It's
the best
true.
decision they've ever made, because I don't need to see that stuff whilst I'm watching a video.
I don't know. It's just a weird cultural thing. Like, I wish it wasn't the case, because I think that it could actually be a good opportunity for some, quality discussion and discourse around the videos that are being presented. But for whatever reason,
On the
it's
internet, Luke? Don't be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
welcome
mate.
to the internet.
there are places where you can get it. I mean, even Reddit, of all places, is a shining beacon of hope compared to what you'll see on YouTube threads. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's an interesting.
Except for the
situation.
WTF thread. Don't go there.
No.
So why do you think, I mean, obviously Twitch has been around for a little bit longer than YouTube Gaming. YouTube Gaming, is, in my experience, and I don't know, yours guys might be different, but yours guys, good English, Imogen.
My words.
Your experience might be different, but most of the YouTube gaming that I get is just stuff that I watch through the normal YouTube app. So I generally don't go to YouTube gaming, I just go to my YouTube app. Whereas obviously Twitch is a bit different, but they're both gaining popularity. They're making people a lot of money through subscribers and other bits and pieces. Why do you think people are more interested in watching people play games? Or have they
Well,
always
for
been
the-
interested and just never had the platform to do it?
Well, that people have always wanted to watch other people play games. It's called sports usually, though. We have stadiums dedicated to it.
True, that's true.
It's funny. It's one of those things that, like, a lot of people who aren't involved in our sorts of hobbies just look at it and they think it's the weirdest thing ever. But, I mean, Ollie's totally right. When you draw comparisons to what people find real-life entertainment consisting of and have done for decades, how different is it really? I mean, sitting on a couch and watching a game of football on TV as opposed to, sitting at a computer chair and watching a streamed, tournament game of, League of Legends or something like that. If you're interested in the subject matter, the delivery is, it's not that far apart. It's very, very similar. So,
Or even to the point where it's like, person sits down and watches talk show on TV. I sit down and watch that on YouTube.
exactly. It's
They're
a
just
form of
playing a computer
entertainment.
game while they do it.
Yeah. I think the big difference with, game streaming in particular is because in a lot of cases, you're actually getting a picture of a product. Like a lot of the people that are motivated to create content on platforms like YouTube and Twitch, while they do it for entertainment purposes, they also do it to be tastemakers for particular, games out there. And that's where a lot of the advertising revenue, of course, springs up from. So it's a great situation where we don't have to rely on games magazines, with print sort of going out of fashion, and word of mouth when it comes to whether something is a quality game or whether it meets our needs or our tastes. You can actually hop on and get a first-hand look at what something is going to be before you decide to invest your money in it. So I think it's a really, really good situation for, being a pro-consumer environment for gaming. But I mean, I think back to when I was a kid too, and, even though I enjoyed playing video games and loved doing it every chance I could get, I still love just sitting next to people who were playing games and watching them. It's something that I liked doing back then, so it stands to reason that I would like doing it by watching it on TV now. So
That's very true. I think, the majority of what I do is for my entertainment. So this is, YouTube effectively is my TV. I don't watch TV. I watch Netflix and YouTube. So I want content. I want to watch exactly what I want to watch. I don't. So maybe Twitch for me in terms of live streaming, unless it's something that I would make the time to watch. I think YouTube gaming is probably more relevant for me, but I think the rise in popularity, I think the esports probably has a lot to do with it. You know, that growing and like you said, Ollie, it's just like sports. So this is the new sport. This is the new thing that people want to watch. But it is true. Like when we were kids and you'd watch other people play games, that was still interesting because you get to see how other people do it and you learn new things about the game. Or if you went to somebody's house and you didn't own the game, you could watch them play it, and that was just as exciting. I mean, we still do that. I still watch you guys play games through Steam if I don't own them, just to see what it's like.
Creepy voyeur.
Yeah.
Well, it was great the other week when Ollie was playing Superhot, and I got to watch him, through the Steam app doing that. So I got a pretty good feel for the game immediately off the back of that. And
Except
was
you're
able
doing it at the level that I just throwing myself haphazardly into.
But it was good. I mean, it gave me enough information to be able to, converse about it when we recorded last week's show, even though I hadn't played the game. So,
yeah. Do you think your interest in it will grow, Jam, or do you think it's just not for you?
Possibly. I don't have as many activities, including work, where I can have something like that going on in the background. And when I do have time, I tend to be twitchy enough that I want to be playing. Like, I want to participate. My downtime, if I can play, I want to play more than want to watch the videos. And, yeah, it's a rare occasion when I can't be playing the games I want to play, but I have time to watch something. So I can see myself watching it whenever I have the appropriate moment. But more than anything, I want to be the one in there playing it, enjoying it firsthand. And I also, my spoiler aversion. I don't want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that is a tricky one.
Before
that's
I
a really
sit
good
down.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I tend to avoid those sorts of things unless I'm, not interested particularly in the game or I already know what's going on.
Jam, I think you're actually probably a pretty good example of people's general transition across to streaming media in general, even though you're not spending a lot of time looking at game streaming, because you do spend a lot of time sort of, taking in streaming of other natures like your Netflix and your Crunchyroll and
anime.
Hulu and Stan and all those sorts of things. There's a lot of streaming services now that are becoming pretty mainstream, pardon the pun. But and it's this insatiable desire that we all have for content now. Like, we don't want to have to wait for a particular program to be broadcast at a certain day or night of the week every week. We want to literally have like an entire season or a big chunk of something we can watch on demand without having to wait for it. It's that
I agree with that.
That instant gratification. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And being able to go, okay, I missed this thing. I missed my Twitch stream on Thursday because of whatever reason. Oh, look, it's right there. I can go back to it.
Yeah.
Boom. I've caught up.
Or I start watching something and then go, oh, I'm actually not paying attention to this anymore. I'm doing something else. So I'll pause that, go and do that. And then you come back to it later. And it's really interesting. I think we're going to see more of it sort of filtering into the more like the Netflix world and the Stan world. I don't think it's going to be very far in the future where we're going to start seeing sort of esports specials showing up on these sort of major streams, much to probably YouTube gaming and Twitch's chagrin, let's say. I think they may lose out in esports if esports sort of gains a general population. I mean, ESPN2 were a great example of that 2 years ago. So,
well, Yahoo's getting into esports coverage now as well. Seems.
Yahoo's still a company.
Yeah,
I was about to ask that. They're still around.
The thing is, though, like, I think it's the snowball effect of all of the content being located on YouTube and Twitch, which is going to continue to make them the juggernauts that they are. I mean, it's very, very hard to compete with that. I mean, even YouTube sort of launching YouTube gaming in recent times, in competing with Twitch, they're still way behind the game in that regard with live streaming, but they've got this really impressive content library that is still top of the market. So I mean, it's some interesting stats for you as well. So there's about 100 million plus monthly users who watch other gamers on Twitch. And as far as YouTube goes, gaming-related content occupies about 15 or more % of all YouTube videos.
Wow,
so
it's huge.
There was even a change to the Emmys recently, where now shows that are produced on streaming media, like on YouTube and some of the other platforms, now are actually eligible for Emmy Awards. So. Yep. That's crazy.
So that's a lot of content from the guys that we already watch on Twitch and YouTube.
We could see a situation where we've got like Markiplier or PewDiePie up for awards next to, say, like Game of Thrones. It's just insane.
I mean, even small things like Geek and Sundry are at the moment putting out multiple small productions. Granted, they're on a fairly niche audience, but maybe many people would have seen The Guild, which is where Felicia Day sort of popped up.
Love that series
on the internet. Yeah. But they've had the most recent LARPs and things like that, which was a great series and very interesting look into the world of LARP.
Yeah.
And they've just released a whole other one which has some great production value. And Rooster Teeth, obviously being such a powerhouse and releasing effectively, a worldwide release of a blockbuster movie, which went on their YouTube Red account. So it's big business, and they need to start not considering content providers in this space as just they're going to do and then die. They're making a lot of money.
Yeah. As far as web series like The Guild go as well that are gaming related, there's one other one that I just want to recommend to everyone who's listening. If you've never heard of it before, you should check out The Legend of Neil. It's a Legend of Zelda sort of live action parody that was actually done by Sandeep Parikh, who played one of the characters in The Guild. What's his name? I forget his character name in The Guild. It's the young Indian guy. Forget his name. But the series is hilarious. You should definitely check it out. Legend of Neil. So I think there's only like 1 or 2 seasons of it, but you'll get through it pretty quickly.
Great.
Cool.
Well, that's it. Stream on, people. I would say final recommendations, if you're going to throw out that, great powerhouses to watch if you're new to streaming gaming and you want to know what it's all about, are Geek and Sundry, not sponsored, and Rooster Teeth. But Achievement Hunter probably for a gaming perspective rather than Rooster Teeth as a whole. Achievement Hunter is good, and their Let's Play channel is my favorite. I just saw a notification pop up. They've got a new Minecraft video, so I'll be watching that.
Yeah. As far as getting tastes of different games and things that you might want to try out, I'd also highly recommend the giantbomb.com quick looks. They're really, really good. So, yeah.
I'll do my plug for the Yogscast and all their sort of sub-channels and stuff as well.
Yep. Good stuff there. Nice.
Support content providers, peeps.
Yep. Content creators make more content when people watch their stuff. That's how it works.
Exactly right. And Jamie, I think I've determined that you should definitely be a streamer. If you're not going to watch the stream, you're going to have to get in at some level.
Listen to me swear at everyone.
Yeah. I'd watch it.
I've heard I can be entertaining on occasion.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'd be real keen to do some streaming, but our internet in Australia just makes that a massive challenge.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I think, VODs are a lot more achievable when you can sort of record something and then upload it after the fact. But, we'll get some time at some point. I'll probably start doing a little bit of that when I can get my head around how much effort that's going to take. But I don't know. I'm not
just
going to
picturing
commit.
like live action GoPro video of us playing Pokemon Go now.
Oh, man. That's
Mainly, I do own a GoPro.
Oh, man, that would be funny.
All right, Ollie, we can have a
worst.
conversation about this later.
Yeah.
Especially with Luke, the one who gets bored doing his own thing, so he just runs around sabotaging everyone else, sticking his foot out and tripping him up.
Pokemon Go.
I can't figure out this thing in 5 seconds. Oh, well, time to troll.
Yeah.
That is the Luke mentality.
Anyway, speaking of time to troll, it's probably time for us all to hop off and do some more divisioning. So, yep. All right. Well, if you would like to give us some comments about what your favourite game streams and VOD sources are, hit us up. You can email us at mail@partyloaded.com. Check us out on Twitter at partyloadedshow. We are, of course, on Facebook at facebook.com/partyloaded. And hop on to iTunes. And if you've enjoyed the episode, leave us a positive review. It would be greatly appreciated. And lots of ways to get in touch with us. Of course, we will be at the end of the month talking about our party game of the month, which will be Helldivers. And you can get on ahead of the game and recommend some games for us to look at with the next time that we randomly determine one as well. So I think I'm going to pick up Helldivers this week, guys, just FYI. So if anyone's keen to...
mine.
You've got yours. If anyone's keen to tear themselves away from Division for like a day, we can put some time into testing it out. Yeah.
It'll be difficult.
It will be difficult. All right. Well, anyway, let's get on to that now. And until next time, have a great week, everyone. We'll be back next week. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.